Welcome back to this section of our course where we take you through building a project exercises. In this chapter, I'm going to show you how to create the surface for a plastic funnel. We're going to start by redefining our sketch. Right-click on Sketch 1, select Redefine. Now we click on the plane where we want to put our sketch, XZ, and let's double-click on the sketch to activate it. Let's take a normal view. I want to select and delete this point. Now project geometry, click on the center point in our browser and right-click and done. Let's begin by creating an ellipse. Activate the ellipse tool. We'll place it about here, right-click, done. Now let's apply some dimensions. It's going to be 4 inches. OK. By 2 inches. OK. Right-click, done. Now let's use a 3-point arc. First point, second point, and third point, something like this. Right-click, done. Let's apply some dimensions and constraints. The center of the arc and the center point. Right-click, done. Let's dimension the arc now. 5 inches, OK. The distance between the center point and the center of the arc, let's make that 6.5 inches. OK. Now let's use the trim tool to cut this curve here. Right-click, done. Let's apply a fillet right here. Select this edge and this curve. Oops, I'm not able to select this curve. Let's try an alternative. Let's activate the circle tool. We'll place our circle about here. Right-click, done. Now let's dimension it. Give it a diameter of 1 inch. OK. Right-click and done. Now let's activate a tangent constraint and apply it to this curve and the circle. This curve and the circle. Let's use the trim tool now, and we're going to cut this part here, this part, and this part here. There we go. We've created a fillet in another way. Right-click and done. Let's activate the circle tool again. If I drop the circle here, for example, let's right-click and done. And then I try to apply a tangent relation. Watch what happens. As you see, the circle attaches to the curve on the opposite side. That's not going to help us. Let's undo it. The same thing's going to happen if I try it over here, however. Select the circle and this curve. The circle jumps to the closest point on the curve, even if I click right here. If I click again, however, we can fix this problem. Do keep that in mind. OK. Let me undo. And let's delete this circle. I'm going to use a 3-point arc now. Activate the 3-point arc tool. And my third point, right-click, done. Let's apply dimensions now. We'll give it a radius of 1 inch. OK. Right-click and done. And let's apply tangencies between this curve and this one, between this curve and this one. Right-click, done. Let's activate the trim tool now and cut these curves. As you see in the status bar, our sketch is already fully constrained. Right-click, done. Let's create a second ellipse now. Something like this. Right-click, done. And let's apply some dimensions. We'll make it 4¼ inches. OK. A second dimension now. 2¼ inches. OK. Lastly, I'm going to create a circle right about here. Let's use the line tool first. We'll draw our line right here. Right-click, done. Now let's add a coincident relation between this point and this curve, between this point and this curve, and a vertical constraint between this point and the center point. Now let's create our circle here. Apply dimensions. Our diameter will be 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. OK. Right-click, done. Now let's select this line and convert it to construction geometry. We're finished with this sketch now, and it is fully constrained, so let's exit the sketch. Finish sketch. Let's take an isometric view and add a work plane. I'm going to offset it 1.5 inches. Click OK. Now let's place a sketch on this plane. We're going to create an ellipse. Activate the ellipse tool. And right-click, done. Let's apply some dimensions to our new ellipse. 2 3/8 of an inch. 2.375. OK. And let's make the second dimension half of the first. We select the dimension, divide sign, 2, OK. The sketch is fully constrained. Let's exit the sketch. Finish sketch. We need another work plane. I'm going to offset it from work plane 1. 1 1/4 of an inch. Right-click, and let's hide work plane 1, visibility. Now let's create a sketch on work plane 2. We'll activate the circle tool. And let's drop our circle right about here. Apply dimensions. Diameter will be 1 1/4 inches. 1.25. OK. And let's exit the sketch. I need another work plane. I'll offset it by 1 inch. OK. And let's hide work plane 2. Now let's create a sketch. Here I'll create another circle. Activate the circle tool. And let's place it about here. Apply dimensions, 1 inch diameter. OK. The sketch is fully constrained. Let's exit the sketch. Finish sketch. Let's hide work plane 3. Right-click, visibility. Now let's build a surface for the funnel body. Let's activate the boundary patch tool. When I mouse over the various profiles, you see that they're pre-selected. Let's click right here. Click Apply, Apply, and Done. Now let's activate the Loft tool. Let's just drag that in a bit. In order for me to select this edge here, I need to change the output to surfaces. Now I'm able to select this edge. The second, the sketch, and the other sketch. Let's click OK. Now let's use the Loft tool again. Change the output to surfaces. Select the first edge, and the next edge, the third edge, and let's go get the sketch down below. Click OK. We're finished the funnel's body now. In our next tutorial, we're going to create a handle. But in the meantime, I need to save my part. And this concludes my tutorial about creating a surface for a funnel.